Hi, this is Terry again. And on this video, we're going to talk about the distributive property. So the first problem we're going to look at here is 6 parentheses a minus 3. So the distributive property is just when we have something outside of the parenthesis and we want to distribute it to each term inside the parenthesis. And when we say distribute, that means we're going to multiply. So I'm going to put a little dot here between just to help us to remember that we are multiplying that 6 by each term inside those parentheses. So we're going to use some arrows to kind of help us out here. And so we're going to say this 6 times this a. It's the first thing we're going to do. And 6 times a would just be 6a. If there's just a number and a variable, then we just put them together when we multiply. So this will just be 6a. Then we have to take that 6 and we have to multiply it by the second term in our parentheses, which is our -3. Now be careful here and do not add like combining like terms. This is not that. This is distributive property. So we actually want to take that number 6 and we multiply it by that number -3. And when we do that, we get a -18. Then we'll look at those two terms and we'll say, hey, 6a minus 18, can we combine any like terms? We cannot. So this will be our answer. Okay, so let's look at another one here. This time we're going to look at -2 parentheses 2x plus 1. All right, so the same thing applies here. We are going to do this distributive property. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little dot, or like what we call a multiplication sign, between the -2 and the parenthesis. That helps me to remember that when I distribute, I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to say -2 times 2x. So a -2 times a 2 would be a -4. And then there's an x with it, so we'll put our x down with our -4. Then we are going to take that -2 and we have to distribute it to the second term in the parentheses, which is the +1. Here again, we are not adding these terms. This is distributive property, it's multiplication, so we're going to multiply -2 times 1, which would be a -2. Then we're going to look and we're going to say, hey, can we combine any like terms? -4x minus 2, we cannot combine those. They are not like terms, so that is our answer. All right, so let's look at a third one here. This time we're going to have negative parenthesis 5x squared minus 3x plus 2. All right, so as we're looking at this guy, we have this negative outside of this parenthesis. So if there's nothing with it, I'm going to go ahead and just place a 1 in front of that negative, behind that negative sign. And again, this is multiplication because it's right outside those parentheses. There's not a plus sign there. So it's not just combining like terms. This is multiplying. So we're going to take that first term, -1, and we're going to multiply it by the first term inside the parenthesis. So -1 times 5 is -5. The x squared will come right down with it. Then we go to our next one and we say -1 and we go to the second term, which is -3x. And again, we have -1 times a -3x. So -1 times -3 is a +3. And we're going to bring that x down with it. Then we have to take that -1 and we have to distribute or multiply it to the last term in the parentheses, which is the 2. Here again, we are not adding, we are multiplying. So -1 times 2 would be a -2. Then we check and say, can we combine any like terms? We cannot combine any like terms. None of those are the same. So this would be our answer. I'm going to show you one other way too that you can do this same problem. So we had a problem that looked something like this, where we had the minus sign outside the parentheses. And so if you ever have the minus sign outside the parentheses, while ago I said we can put a 1 there and distribute or multiply it in. You can also look at it in this way too. You can say whatever the term is on the inside of the parenthesis, all we're going to do is change the sign of it. So here we have a 5x squared, so he will become a minus 5x squared. Here we have a minus 3x, so we're going to change it to a plus 3x. Here we have a positive 2, so we're going to change it to a minus 2. And with that being said, you can see we just changed all of the signs. And if you'll look, both answers are the exact same. So you can do it either way and get the same answer.